Welcome back into the Ellison Broadcast Center. I'm Megan Triplett, and today is the day that we announce the women's All-Americans from the Division I. Now, it has been an exciting and long season full of some amazing games filled with some incredibly talented players. So drum roll, please. Let's kick things off with the first team for the attack position. And let's start with the one and only Sam Apuzzo from Boston College. The senior is one of BC's most decorated and dominant athletes of all time. The senior put up another program high 94 goals, topping her previous record of 88. She set atop the nation consistently in points, goals, and draws through her finale, earning ACC and ECAC Attacker of the Year, and for the second consecutive year, she topped the Torton finalist list. And up next is Emily Harris-Chuck from the Syracuse Juniors, scored a career-best 75 goals in 2019, which was the second highest single-season total in school history. Harris-Chuck also posted career highs in points with 94 and assists with 19 to rank 9th in the nation in goals and 18th in points. And from the America East, representing Stony Brook, is Allie Kennedy. The two-time reigning America East Midfielder of the Year had a stellar junior campaign, notching a 100-point season with 84 goals and 16 assists. Kennedy was also named a Torton Award Top 25 nominee. Let's now get back to Boston College. No surprise here, Kenzie Kent joins her teammate Sam Apuzzo on the first team. In her return to the lacrosse field, the graduate student wasted no time getting right back to where she left off in 2017, 2 seasons ago. She shattered the previous single-season program assist record of 41, reaching the milestone in just 12 games, and only to continue on the total to 75 on the year. She ended the season as the nation's point leader, putting up 127 over her first full season on the field. Another name we've heard a lot this year was Northwestern senior Selena Lasota. Now, the attacker makes the first after leading the Wildcats to their first NCAA Final Four since 2014. Lasota led the team with a career-high 85 goals, en route to setting Northwestern's all-time career goal record with 287 career goals. She started in 20 games for the Cats this season, leading the Big Ten in goals and in points. Now over to a sophomore that made the first team, Jamie Ortega out of North Carolina. As one of the nation's most dynamic offensive threats, Ortega became the first UNC player to tally 100 points in a season this spring, finishing with a school record 112, including a school record 81 goals. Jamie was named the 2019 ACC Tournament MVP after posting a record 19 points in 3 conference tournament games. She even set a school record with 12 points in the ACC tournament win versus Virginia Tech. Our next first-team All-American comes all the way from Florida. Lindsey Ronbeck, the senior, led the Gators on offense, scoring 107 points on 89 goals and 18 assists. Her 4.24 goals per game is ranked 5th in the nation and 1st in the conference. For her efforts this season, she was named AAC Attacker of the Year and earned a spot on the All-AAC and AAC All-Tournament teams. And our last first-team All-American from the attack position is Livy Rosenzweig out of Loyola. Now, after becoming the first player in the program history, male or female, to record 100 points in a single season last year, Rosenzweig once again set the school record for points as she ranked 4th in the NCAA with 116 this season. She also shattered Loyola's single-season record for assists, dishing out 70, which was the second most in the NCAA this year. And oh, did I mention she's just a sophomore? And since we are talking about sophomores, let's start there in the midfield. Up first is Notre Dame's Andy Aldave. Aldave established herself as one of the best midfielders in the country as a sophomore with an ACC leading 8 draw controls per game, which also ranked her 6th in the nation. She broke her own single-season program record with 135 draws this season, and she didn't stop there. She also had a knack for the biggest moments, leading the Irish with 4 game-winning goals. And the third BC player making first team is Dempsey Arsenault. The senior was the most consistent dual threat and was a dominant presence on either end of the field. Starting in every single contest of her career, Dempsey totaled 92 points on the season through 65 goals and 27 assists, which was third best on the team. The ACC Midfielder of the Year also contributed 100 draw wins, 44 ground balls, and 23 caused turnovers. Dempsey was also a top 5 finalist for the Tewaaraton this year. And from one Tewaaraton top 5 finalist to another, next up is champion Jen Giles. The Maryland senior receives her second consecutive first-team All-American nod. Giles led the Terps with 82 points, with 59 goals and 23 assists, and she was second on the team with 37 ground balls. The Big Ten Defender of the Year scored Maryland's last 2 goals against BC to seal that championship. And our last midfielder is Virginia's Sammy Mueller. The junior paced the Cavaliers on offense for the second consecutive year. Mueller finished with a team-high 72 points on 48 goals and 24 assists. Plus, she led the ACC in ground balls per game, was 7th in caused turnovers per game, and was 8th in draw controls per game. All right, time for our defenders. From Maryland, there's Julia Bragg. The senior makes the first team for the second year in a row after leading Maryland's defense to only allowing little over 8 goals per game. Bragg was a player that always defended the opponent's top player. The captain led the Terps with 27 caused turnovers and tallied 30 ground balls. And for the second year in a row, Julia was named Big Ten Defender of the Year. Another senior that made the first team is Elizabeth Miller out of Boston College. Miller maintained her position as the Eagles' most dynamic defender through the season, starting in each contest for the 4th straight season. Now, aside from causing 21 turnovers for BC, Miller won control of 79 draws, which was 3rd best on the team. Let's stay in the ACC and now talk about Emma Trenchard from North Carolina. The 2019 ACC Defensive Player of the Year was one of the best defenders in the nation, despite being just a sophomore. She led North Carolina to a 17-4 record, its 4th consecutive, the 4th ACC title in a row, and its 8th NCAA Final Four in the last 11 years. She was a defensive force no matter the opponent, marking the opposition's best offensive player and consistently holding her in check. And for our lone goalie on the first team, that spotlight goes to Tewaaraton winner Megan Taylor. The Maryland senior and 2-time All-American had one of the best seasons ever for a goalie in 2019, leading Maryland to the 2019 National Championship. Taylor finished the season with a 55 save percentage. She had 217 saves and allowed just 117 goals, which was the best mark of any Power 5 goalie in the country. The Big Ten Goalie of the Year was named the NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player after posting 24 saves to only 23 goals allowed in the Final Four. Now, for more on the first team, take a listen to my conversation with Liz Robertshaw from earlier this week. And now we bring in one of my favorite people, Liz Robertshaw. She does it all, former coach, our Ellison analyst. She does play-by-play color for us. And Liz, we just went through the first team from the Division I. What just stood out to you the most?
They're amazing. Every single one of those players is absolutely outstanding, from players of the year, Tewaaraton finalists, leaders in the stat categories. I mean, you can't find a fault in a single one of those players that they chose for the first team. And it's really cool to see. I mean, every one of those women deserves it. Obviously, you see, Meg Taylor on there, who's done great things, Tewaaraton winner, but every Tewaaraton finalist is on there. You have Kenzie Kent, who led the statistics in points and assists. Livy Rosenzweig from Loyola, great season. Jamie Ortega, outstanding season for North Carolina. So you look through, and I really think the committee did a great job of getting balanced attackers, which, I mean, the game right now is so attack heavy, but they got a great mix of attackers, middies, and then just outstanding defenders that they have on there. And then the best goaltender in the nation. So I don't think they missed a beat. I know it's really challenging to differentiate between the difference, teams 1, 2, and 3, but they did an outstanding job picking this group.
And Liz, let's start there. You talked about that challenge of differentiating from first team, second team to third team. What's the most important thing? Stats or just actual what you do out there on the field, where sometimes the stats don't show up?
Right. So I was lucky enough to be on the All-American committee. I chaired it as well when I was a coach. And sitting in that room, it's not easy and it's not one thing. I mean, the phone call or the committee meeting, it's up to 5 hours long, and you are discussing over 100 players, and you're just talking about how did they do regular season, how is their consistency throughout the course of the season, how did they stack up against top 10 teams, how did they stack up in their conference tournament. So it's not one thing, it's not one stat. At the same time, how did they match up? So if you're a defender like Julia Bragg, how did you match up against everyone that you played against? You stifled Sam Apuzzo. At the same time, Sam Apuzzo, pretty amazing player right there. So you're looking at everything. You're looking at the body of work that this individual did. You're also looking at how the team success did. So when you look at this first team, every one of these teams had a great year. I mean, there are a little bit of ups and downs at different times, but with Boston College and UNC and Northwestern, these teams were all solid, and these players added to the team's success, which is why they found themselves on first team. So you really have to do a good job of looking at individual statistics, big game statistics, consistency throughout the course of the year, and then what this player meant to their team. And I know the people that were on this committee really took every one of those things into effect.
And we are back with our All-American special. Now, we just revealed the first team from the Division I, and now it's time to take a look at the talented group of women that made the second team. Now, this time, let's start with the defense. And first up is Lindsay Earhart from Loyola. She leads off things for us. The Greyhound senior earned Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year after setting the league's record with 6 weekly defensive awards in a single season. Earhart led her team with 45 caused turnovers in 2019, and not only good for 7th in the nation, but that was also tied for 3rd most in Loyola's single-season history. Another senior named the second team was Denver's Catherine Fisher. The 2-time captain led a defensive unit that ranked #1 in the country from 6 consecutive weeks. Fisher posted 49 ground balls and 37 caused turnovers in her final season as a Pioneer, earning Big East Defender of the Year. Now, are you sensing a little trend among these second-team defenders, senior who went out with a bang, winning their conference's Defensive Player of the Year award? Well, if you are correct, because next up is Caroline Stanowich from James Madison University. She dominated the CAA, also winning the conference's championship's most outstanding player honor. And not only that, but Stanowich was the only Tewaaraton Top 25 nominee from the CAA as a defender. Quite the resume as a Duke. And up next is Notre Dame goalie Samantha Jackalone. Jackalone was one of the nation's top goalies in 2019 after ranking 7th in the country in both save percentage and goals against average. In her senior season, Jackalone became the Irish all-time leader with 47 wins and 605 saves in 78 career games played. A 2-time ACC Defensive Player of the Week and first-team All-ACC honoree, Jackalone anchored an Irish defense that ranked 4th in the country. Let's now get to the attackers. Elizabeth George finished her career as Princeton's career leader in draw controls. The senior scored 62 goals this season, which was the 4th best total in program history. And her 87 points this season were the 3rd best by any Princeton player in a single season. She also set the program's single season record with 88 draw controls and was unanimous Ivy League Attacker of the Year. Then there is Callie Hartshorn from Maryland. She was named to the second team. The junior played a crucial role in Maryland's 2019 national championship run, leading the Terps with 138 draw controls. the third most in a season in program history, while also standing fourth on the team with 48 goals and tallying 67 points. Hartshorn was a Tewaaraton nominee, All Big Ten selection, and was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week twice this season. On to another junior and perhaps the most prolific playmaker in North Carolina history, Katie Hogue. She smashed the school record for assists in a season with 73, surpassing her own previous record of 50. In just her second year as a starter, she is already Caroline's career assist leader with 132. Her 104 points in 2019 are the second most points ever by a Tar Heel in a season. And staying in the conference, let's now shine the light on Maddie Howe out of Notre Dame. The sophomore led the Irish attack with 59 goals and 78 points. Howe was deadly from the free position, posting a 65.5%. That ranked 7th in the country. She netted a goal in all 19 games this season, including 13 contests in which she scored at least 3 goals. 4 of those 3-goal efforts came versus ACC opponents. And another ACC player made the second team, and that is Olivia Jenner from Duke. The senior wrapped up her collegiate career in impressive fashion, making the most of her final year. Jenner topped 500 draws for her career in 2019 regular season finale, rounding out the contest at 512 and surpassed her own program season record with 150 in 19 contests. The Annapolis, Maryland native also put together a strong season on the attacking end, ranking second on the squad in goals with 59, points with 82, and tying for first in assists with 23. And how about this for a freshman? Izzy Skane from Northwestern is honored with second team for her first year accomplishments. Skane was second among all Wildcats with 62 season goals and second on the team with 80 points. Skane started 20 games for the Cats and scored multiple goals in 18 of the 20 games. En route to being unanimously named Big Ten Freshman of the Year, she set a record for the most Big Ten Freshman of the Week awards since the award was even created. Then there's Kyla Sears. She joins teammate Elizabeth George on the second team. The sophomore broke Princeton's single-season record for assists with 40, while adding 55 goals for 95 points, which was the second-best total in program history. She was the most outstanding player of the Ivy League tournament, and she also became the first Princeton player ever to be first-team All-Ivy League as both a freshman and a sophomore. All right, let's switch over to the midfield. Senior Maggie Jackson out of Virginia makes the second team. The midfielder has led UVA in draw controls in each of the last 3 seasons and has amassed 301 career draws to own the all-time UVA record. The senior packed the Cavaliers with 37 assists, which was a single-season career high and was third in the ACC. Down in Florida, Shannon Kavanaugh made a splash during her sophomore season, sitting second on the team in goals, score with 69, and first on the team in assists with 26, and she's got 93 draw controls as well. Now, her 3.29 goals per game put her second overall in the conference, and she finished third in the league in draw controls per game. And with stats like that, it just makes sense for why she was named the AAC Midfielder of the Year. All right, let's now go out west. For this second year in a row, USC junior Kerrigan Miller is named an All-American, but this time she makes the second team. The 2-time Pac-12 Midfielder of the Year helped lead the women of Troy to the program's first Pac-12 championship in 2019. She is among the program's all-time leaders in caused turnovers. She had 112, which was second, and she had 142 ground balls that put her in third. Then there's senior Taylor Van Thoff. The Loyola senior graduated as the program's career single-season and single-game record holder for draw controls. She had a lot. She became the first player in program history and the second in Patriot League history to win at least 103 different categories. A force all over the field, Van Thoff also amassed over 100 goals throughout her career, and earned 3 straight All-Patriot League honors, including being named the Patriot League Midfielder of the Year this season. And our last midfielder on the second team is the Big East Midfielder of the Year, Francesca Whitehurst out of Georgetown. Whitehurst was named the Big East Tournament Most Outstanding Player after scoring the game winner in double OT to defeat Denver for the 2019 Big East Championship. Now, she led the team in scoring with 42 goals and 34 assists, as well as pulling in a squad best 82 draw controls. Welcome back to the All-American Special. I'm Megan. Now, we have gone through the first team and the second team. We are not done handing out the honors, so let's now get to the third team, and let's start in the Big East. The reigning Big East Attacker of the Year, Quentin Hawk-Bullen, wrapped up this season with a team-high 71 points and 59 goals, scoring 8 in the NCAA tournament. Now, with 5 coming on May 12th against Michigan in the second round. Now, the Ontario native posted 11 hat tricks in 20 games this season, averaging 2.95 goals per game to finish the season ranked 45th in the nation. Next up is Kelly Larkin. She was named Patriot League Attacker of the Year for the first time in her career, becoming the first Navy player to earn the award since 2013. She is the first player in Patriot League history to record 3 100-point seasons. Larkin led the team with 121 points on a team-high 69 goals and team-best 52 assists. Let's stay over in the Patriot League. Hannah Powers concluded her career as Loyola's all-time leader for points and ranked 4th in the Patriot League history with 317 points. The first player in program history to reach 150 goals and 100 assists throughout their career. Her 187 goals ranked 4th, and her 130 assists are 2nd at Loyola, while her assists ranked 5th in Patriot League history. And over in the Ivy League, a returning third-team All-American, Gabby Rosenzweig, paced Penn's offense in 2019. As the junior earned unanimous first-team All-Ivy honors after finishing the season with a program record 98 points, including a program record 63 assists. She finished the year ranked 2nd in the nation in assists per game, averaging 3.5. And our last attacker on the third team is from Maryland. Caroline Steele was the key force on the attack of the 2019 National Championship winning Maryland team. Now, in just 19 games, Steele was 3rd on the team with 53 goals and 70 points. Steele had at least 3 points in 13 of 23 games and had 7 goals in the Terps' quarterfinal win, while also scoring the game-winning goal in Maryland's overtime win against North Carolina. Next up is our third-team All-Americans. Now, for the midfield, a returning second-team All-American, Erin Berry, was a force on both ends of the field. Now, for the Quakers in 2019, she earned Ivy League Midfielder of the Year and unanimous first-team All-Ivy honors. Her stats were balanced as she eclipsed 100 career goals, ground balls, draw controls in her junior season. Then there's Brennan Dwyer. The sophomore led the Wildcats in the draw circle with 181 draw controls this season. Dwyer was ranked 1st in the Big Ten in draw controls, 5th in the NCAA, and led all sophomores. She started all 21 games for Northwestern, averaging 8.6 draw controls per game. Dwyer scored a career-high 2 goals in the Cats game against Louisville, and the sophomore also set Northwestern's single-season draw control record. Then there is Maryland graduate Erica Evans, the midfielder. She led Maryland with 59 goals this season, as well as standing 2nd with 74 points. Evans played her best lacrosse as a Terp during the end of the season, and Maryland stretched that national championship winning run. She scored 32 goals over the final 9 games of the season. Now, in the postseason, Evans totaled 18 goals and 5 assists. There's senior Catherine Giroux from Dartmouth. she was named to the third team. Giroux graduates as the Ivy League's best player ever on the draw control, posting 418 for her career. That figure is in large part to her single-season conference record of 160 this year, making her the only player in Ivy history with 3 seasons of 100 or more draw controls. Over in the CAA, a scoring machine, Alyssa Perella makes the third team. The Hofstra junior led Hofstra to 12 wins in 2019 as Hofstra advanced to the CAA championship game for the first time since 2013. The CAA Player of the Year had a spectacular 2019 campaign as she posted a school record 105 points and CAA record of 85 goals and 20 assists. Perella's 4.47 goals per game leads the entire nation, and she also added 22 draw controls, 19 ground balls, and 8 caused turnovers. And our last midfielder to the third team reigns from Florida. Sydney Pareca, the senior, finished the season third on the team in goals with 69, points with 68, and shots with 116. She was second in assists with 25 and fourth in free position goals with 11. This season, Sydney notched 7 hat tricks during the year and had 9 multi-goal games overall. Now over to the defense. Noni Anderson makes the third team. The Ivy League's Offender of the Year was the fastest player on the team. Anderson had 76 draw controls, which was second best on the team this year, and also the second best total in a single season in program history. She also finished her senior season with 17 caused turnovers and 27 ground balls, and she also contributed 2 goals and an assist in transition. Up next is Towson Junior Samantha Chenoweth. Samantha wrapped up the regular season leading the nation in caused turnovers per game. The junior broke the CAA single-season caused turnover record. Against Penn State, she caused a season-best 8 turnovers. She was named to the Torreton Award Watch List All-CAA First Team, CAA All-Tournament Team, and the IWLCA Mid-Atlantic All-Region First Team. Then there is Maryland junior Lindsey Colson. Colson had an impact all over the field for the champs. Colson led Maryland with 46 ground balls, and she stood second in both caused turnovers and in draw controls. Colson had over 3 ground balls in 8 games, over 2 caused turnovers in 11 games, and over 7 draw controls in 8 games. The junior was on both the NCAA All-Tournament team and the Big Ten All-Tournament team as well. And our last offender is Cara Trombetta from Florida. The junior finished third in the conference and 22nd in the nation in caused turnovers. She became Florida's all-time leader in caused turnovers during the season and is the only Gator to break the 100 caused turnover milestone. Now, for her efforts, Trombetta was named AAC Defender of the Year, along with being named to both the All-AAC and the AAC All-Tournament teams. And we have one goalie that made the third team, and that honor goes to Taylor Marino from North Carolina. The sophomore was a first-team All-ACC pick, as she was one of the top goalies in the conference and the nation. Marino had 11 games with double-digit saves in 2019, including all 3 NCAA tournament games, and she ranked 8th in the nation with a goals against average of 8.91, and she was 4th nationally with a save percentage of 53. Welcome back. So let's now take a look back at all the first team attackers. Now, we've had some of the best from the Division I and players whose offense wowed us throughout the entire season. I don't have to go through them all again, but you got Sama Puzo, Allie Kennedy, Kenzie Kent, names that we have been saying all year long. So congratulations to them on making the first team. Now, as for the midfield position, the talent is stacked on this first team. We got 4 players from just 2 conferences representing them from that position, and they get to make the first team. Now, when you look at their stats, each one is loaded. Each player helped their teams in every way when it came to goals, points, draws, and ground balls. And here's a look at the defense. Look at the representation on this list for the first team. It is impressive. You have the ACC Defender of the Year, the Big Ten Defender of the Year, and the Tewaaraton winner herself, Megan Taylor from Maryland. Now, for more of my conversation with Liz Robertshire, take a listen to what we had to talk about earlier this week. And you said about what the player meant to the team. What does it mean to be named an All-American to the player and to a coach and to the program?
It's such an honor. I always say this is tough because I know how many players are outstanding in the game and that are not named to All-Americans. There are always going to be some players that are missed, but you're the top 1%. About 120 teams playing at Division I level. There's about 48 players, not about, there are 48 players that are selected to the All-American first, second, and third team. So you are the top 1% of the women's lacrosse world in Division I. And so that's a huge honor. As an individual, it shows those extra hours, those shooting when the lights are off, or getting up at 6 a.m. and doing extra workouts and doing the things that others won't, they paid off. It also shows talent. You obviously have just established yourself among some of the best players in the world. And the way the game is being played right now, it really says something that these players are that top 1%. To a coach, you get a little pat on the back. I won't lie. When one of my players was named All-American, I felt so great for them because of what it meant for that individual. But as a coach, you're like, yeah, that's, you had a small part in that. And you're just really glad that the work that you see this player do has paid off. And then from a program perspective, it's huge. I mean, every coach uses it in recruiting. Every school loves to promote the fact that they have All-Americans right there. And it shows the foundation that you've built. So with some of these programs that are just stacked in this All-American group, there's a reason. And you have more All-Americans, more kids want to go and become an All-American, they will go to your school. So it's a win-win for everybody. But as I said, there are still some amazing players out there, players that maybe next year will be named All-American or maybe not in their career. It doesn't take anything away from them, but this is definitely the elite of the elite.
And you talked about there's some players who are, definitely great, who weren't named All-American. But what does this say about the Division I? From what we witnessed this year, how the talent was just so impressive.
It's just outstanding. I mean, when you're sitting here looking at the list of I've seen the entire list now, and I'm looking at players that are on Division III that led the nation in scoring for a while, or that were players of the conference, players of the year in their conference, and they're on a third team and not a first team. Mm-hmm. It just shows how competitive this year was. That if you wanted to make a first team, you're scoring over 120 points. In the case of Sam Puzo and Kenzie Kent, that you have over 70 assists in the case of Livy Rosenzweig. That your save percentage is 55%, Megan Taylor. Those numbers are outrageous in the game. But you're just seeing the game has been elevated so much by all of these players. And so if you're in that first team category, I mean, you're just absolutely elite. But it also says something, first, second, and third team. These are just outstanding players that have raised the bar in women's lacrosse. It's made it more exciting to watch. That's why our fan support has gone up. I don't know if you saw it, but 50% more people are watching our national championship game than last year. There's a reason. And these are the players that are making that thing happen.
And just like that, we have announced all the 48 student athletes who were named to one of the 2019 Division I All-American teams. Now, to all the players and to the programs who they played for, congratulations. Thanks for watching our All-American special. I'm Megan Triplet, and cheers to a great season.